stabbing me.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that is something I realized pretty quickly as well. So I'm like, oh, this just isn't a good combination. So.
Yeah. I always want to get more like ear piercings, like to have more going up. But then I'm like, I feel like I wouldn't wear them ever because they would be uncomfortable, like to sleep on or with headphones or.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Funny. I was just having the same sort of, not like crisis, but like mini, I don't know, realization, like, because I also
internal debate
about what?
An internal debate.
Yes, because I was thinking like I really want to get just like a second set, partly because I would love to do like interesting combinations of earrings, and like that would be something I love. But the thing that is like stopping me is I'm like, I honestly don't want to go through the like constant cleaning again, which like you have to do. It's obviously like necessary. So I'm not saying like it shouldn't be a factor. Yeah. I'm saying I am apparently too lazy to handle that right now. Like I just don't want to.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I agree. Because I just got mine re-pierced because I hadn't worn them for like, I don't know, 10 years. And then I was like, oh, maybe I want earrings again. And I'm like, man, you got this like 6 months where you have to, and my specialty, because I have sensitive ears, I have to clean or they start hurting. And yeah, it's just a problem.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Hold on a second. What's happening? My computer just like changed screens for some reason.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, but I also have very like sensitive ears, and so finding earrings I can wear is also always a struggle.
Yeah.
Okay, don't. I'm trying out having Merlin be loose in my, like he's in the room with me, but he's not in his crate, and he is wandering around. I gave him a toy with peanut butter on it to entertain him, which he has already finished, and now the whole room smells like peanut butter. If you want to know what my reality is like right now, it's in a room that smells like peanut butter.
But when you were saying you gave him that toy, I was like, I wonder if he's already done. Like,
yes, he is. He was a big fan, and he already finished it, and now he's like wandering around and like knocking things over. So. You know, we'll
he's
see.
Having a great time, is what I'm hearing.
Oh yeah, he's loving it. So hopefully no one will hear it because I have headphones on, but I may have to like duck out every once in a while to be like, "What are you doing?"
All good.
Yeah, let me know if you can hear my kids, because my husband's out of town, and so the kids are doing iPad, and the one is not wearing headphones with her iPad. And now she's decided.
I don't hear anything. Yeah.
I don't either.
So if it becomes a problem, just let me know.
Go lie down.
But I feel like I should be up here so I could at least like be here in case something happens. But
right.
Sure. Yeah.
As opposed to hiding in the basement.
Good boy. Yes. All right. He lay down.
So we didn't really say hi. Hello, everyone.
Oh yeah.
In the middle of talking about earrings and like. Piercing. Yeah, so let's do just a quick little intro if you guys want to what you'll be working on and anything you want to mention about your channel. I have already linked Kelly and Huck in the description, but yeah, if there's anything you want to promote specifically. So
sure. Well, I'm actually working on the same sweater that I was last time, which I don't know if that's happened before. A lot of times I'm like, I'm doing because I just kind of like obsess over one at a time. But I've been moving through this one more slowly. So working on same sweater. This time I'm on to the sleeves. I have one sleeve left. I finished one sleeve and I'm not sure if I like it. So this is the sleeve.
Oh, that's cute.
Oh,
I don't know. I'm not sure I like it, but you know, we'll see. I'm doing the other sleeve. I also am just not sure I like the shape of the sleeve because I didn't decrease at all because I wanted kind of more of like almost not like a real bell sleeves, but like a little bit more belled. but I feel like it didn't do that. And so maybe I might have to undo it and like increase more if I want it. Because I've done other ones where like you just do it totally straight and just it looks kind of belled because your wrist gets more narrow. I don't know. It didn't do what I wanted it to do, so I'm not sure. But yeah, so now I am on sleeve number 2. I've only done 2 stripes, so that's where I'm at.
How like I don't know much about it. Is it like if you don't like the sleeves, can you just take it out where you joined the sleeve to the sweater and restart?
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially with this kind, because I'm doing a drop shoulder, so like where it's joined here, this on the green side is like not a finished edge. It doesn't like look pretty, but it's a finished edge. Like it doesn't, it won't unravel. And so I could just completely unravel the sleeve and it wouldn't do anything to the body. But also if I just wanted to like make it a little more belled, I could just pick up stitches like right here and just unravel to that point and then like redo the rest of it. I'm not sure yet what I'm doing.
I just like bought a dress that had bell sleeves, and because I'm petite, I tried it on and I looked like they were like down to here, like my and I was like, I look like I'm wearing my mom's dress.
Probably playing dress up.
I'm like, playing dress up, but it was a really pretty. On the rest of it was a good silhouette, so I was like, okay, I'm a full-fledged adult. I can go and pay a seamstress to do it because I mean, like I could do it myself, but I don't have a serger, and I want it to look like nice. And I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna pay a lady to do it. So I took it in.
I always have like I think I have just short arms because that happens to me, but I am not petite. Like I'm like 5'7", but then I put on things and like the sleeves are always too long. But if I put on like a top that is a petite size, the sleeves are the right length. And I'm like, I think I just have short arms. I'm not like a petite person overall.
Yeah.
But that's always a fun realization where you go like, I think I have short arms. That's weird.
No, like, I think in one of our other sprints, I was talking about how like I've realized through making like several garment patterns, I'm like, okay, I always have to make the torso longer than they say. I don't know if that's like a preference thing, like I just like to wear my tops longer, or if I have a longer torso than you would expect from places. Like, so I don't know. It's we're all different.
Different shades.
Wow.
Kelly, what are you working on right now?
Well, right now I'm binding a quilt that has been a very long project. So a friend of mine wanted a t-shirt quilt. So this is a t-shirt quilt made. And she had sent all of her t-shirts to her like aunt or something, and her aunt had them for like 5 years, and like started the project and did maybe like a fourth of it, the top, and then just kept it for years. And so she sent it to me, where I proceeded to keep it in my closet for 5 years. And last year I finally was like, oops, I should finish this, because she's now 10 years of not having this quilt made. So I finished the top and I was going to send it to her, but then she's like, do you know somebody that can quilt it all together? And I said, yes. So I coordinated that, and then now I'm binding it. And so now she's coming in a week to visit. So I'm like, must finish.
Yeah. Well, and also like from what you guys have said, isn't like doing a t-shirt quilt kind of miserable? Like it's
terrible.
In a lot of ways it's harder because it's stretchy.
Yeah. You have to put it on an interfacing and all that.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, I think you're holding off on it makes sense to me. Like,
So and plus she had started it, so she did it in like the first lady did it differently than I would have.
Yeah.
She cut things and she didn't have a plan. So then it's like you just have all these randomly cut t-shirts. Yeah. And I was like, well, that's not really, you need to make a plan first so you know what size to cut things and what size like sashing and stuff to do and all that. Yeah. So there was not a plan, so I had to like come up with a plan.
Yep.
But now I'm on the final leg. I literally just have from like here to around this corner. So just that much, basically.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm almost done. And so it
The
will
end
be
is-
done when she gets here next week.
Yes, yes. It does feel so good to finish a project that has been like hanging over you for years. Like that's one of the things that I am like kind of trying to focus on right now is just like I like having different projects I'm working on. What I don't like is having a couple that I started so long ago that I'm like I literally don't even remember what I was doing on this. You know, like what like sometimes I don't even remember what like pattern I was using, especially if it's something like socks where I've like used several different ones. So yeah, I'm working on that.
Yeah, I want to do a like. I think Huck, you were the one that said you were going to start like writing a knitting journal, right? Where you're going to like.
Oh yeah, I did. I haven't really kept it up very well, which is, I guess, not a surprise, but
yeah.
But I have been doing both like Instagram posts, and I've been doing like quarterly crafting wrap-ups on my channel.
Yeah.
So that's sort of serving a similar purpose of like documenting stuff.
Yeah.
I have at our work we do kind of like it's kind of like Secret Santa, but like obviously it's not Christmas. We just like for the summer we have like somebody that you pick and you can give them little like inspirational things and little presents. And my like person was like, I went to the yarn shop and I bought some stuff for myself and I saw this pretty yarn and I was like, oh, that's so sweet. They gave me like a hank of yarn.
And so like they're a crafter as well. So it's good yarn is what I've heard.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it's like good like wool yarn.
Yeah. Well, and like not I don't even necessarily mean like fiber content or like oh is it from like a fancy yarn shop. Like I'm even just saying like a lot of times I feel like people who don't do crafts that involve yarn, they like well-meaning, but they'll get you like the weird like ribbon kind or the kind that like looks really pretty but it splits every time you use it. So like that's good that wasn't what happened here.
That's good. And I think
or it's like the ones that have all the bumps and it's impossible to like pull through as you're working. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's pretty. It's like a white with green marbling. So
Ooh.
probably just enough to make like a little hat or
Oh, speaking of, so I did bring the top I finished to prove that it exists.
Ooh,
hey,
I'm really happy with it. I think it came out
nice.
really
Oh,
pretty.
wait, what's the bottom look like?
Yeah. So the bottom, and it wasn't actually written to do in a different color, but I wanted to. So it's like a sort of like feather and fan, I think, or like a sort of diamond, and I really like it, and I have worn it, but I didn't wear it today because I'm like I think you can actually see it better if I just like hold it up. But so the top is real; it exists.
Yeah.
All right, I guess we have to believe you now.
Yeah.
That's nice. So what are you working on today?
So today I am back to the kitty blanket, and I'm almost done with it. So then I will need to figure out a different project that is like good to work on while chatting, because like Huck, you were saying that you're always working on a different project when we do these. I feel like I am always in a place where I'm like, everything I'm working on is not good to work on while I'm talking. So it's like this is the rare exception. So I will need to prepare so that I actually have a craft I can do while doing sprints, which is the whole point. So
I just remembered I meant to like order yarn for my next project before I joined. I might do that at some point. I might order yarn as we speak.
Hey, that is very on brand for the crafting sprint.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we always have that one like sort of reading sprint in the middle, so or near the end.
That's true. I could do it during that also. Yeah.
Yep.
I am
Also,
kind of.
if you guys are watching along or hanging out, let us know if you're working on something, like if you're crafting or if you're just relaxing. What's up with y'all?
Do you ever? We may have talked about this before, but do you ever like calculate out like if you did sell something that you made, like how much would it actually cost for like time and materials? Because I feel like people always are like, you could sell this, and I was like, I don't think you would buy this.
Yeah. Like if crafts, like handcrafts are actually priced what they're worth, nobody buys them.
Right. Yeah. It's expensive.
Like I do kind of think about it. I sometimes do a little of the math for like smaller projects, but and I have even done like a couple of craft fairs before, very like small scale. But
That's cool.
Yeah, it's not something I really want to turn into a like side hustle.
Oh, same. I mean, I'm not trying to sell my stuff. I was just thinking about it because I mean, people say almost anytime I show people stuff that I make, they're like, you could sell this. But recently I was like, I was someplace and I was wearing, it was fine. I was actually like someplace where it was cooler and I could wear one of my sweaters that I made. And somebody was saying like, oh, you could sell this, you know? And that was the first time somebody said that for like something I had knit, because I haven't really worn a lot of my knit stuff yet because it's not cold. And then I was thinking about like, not that I wanted to sell it, but I was like, how much would this actually cost if I was going to try and sell it for like something that would be like worth my time?
Right. Well, and like even if you're thinking of like, you know, knitting something or crocheting something for yourself and just sort of like for fun, thinking about the math of like what you would charge. It's like you don't, speaking at least for yarn crafts or for knitting, I guess I should say specifically, like you don't like knit your own clothes to like save money. Like it's, you know, it's like most of the time. There are exceptions, but it's like the reason you do it is almost always different. It's like the construction is part of the fun. And so it's a hobby that you put time and money into. It's not like an investment you're trying to like recoup.
Right. A lot of times there's that aspect where it's like, yeah, this is, people spend money on their hobbies. You know, I'm not buying like jet skis or something. Like, not that I would, but you know what I mean? Like you know, I'm not spending my hobby money on other things. But also a lot of times when I am making something, like I want to make something that I enjoy the process of making, but also a lot of times I think that I am making something because it is something that I cannot find exactly what I want. Which was like, also, I don't know if we've talked about this before, but there's this one time I was talking to this guy who was in like fashion photography, and we were talking about the concept of fashion photography, and like his opinion was very like, people don't know what they want until you show it to them. And so that's how like fashion photography kind of shapes what people want. And I was like, I get that. But personally, that is not how I make decisions on what I want. I have an idea of what I want, and then I like scour the internet to find it, and then I don't find it, and then I make it. So like, and I do obviously get inspiration from things where like I'll see something and I'm like, oh, I want something like this, but like this, you know? Anyways, that was a tangent, but a lot of times I'm making things because I have a very specific idea of what I want and I can't find it anywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Or the only place I could find it would be like Shein or something. And I'm just like, no, thank you.
Nope. Yeah.
I will spend $200 making this for myself instead of $10 buying it from Shein.
Right. And it's like, because it is in that thing where it's like an overlap of something specific that you really want, and also like a craft, like a process that you enjoy, it doesn't feel like overspending because you are also like paying for the experience and the entertainment.
Right.
Natalie says, I assume if someone is knitting something, I assume minimum of $700. LOL. Yeah, like that is really, like for garments especially, that is probably about what it would be.
Yeah, when I was
Hello, Kimmy.
Hello.
when I was trying to figure out like how much, like hypothetically, how much would that sweater be? Even if I was only paying myself like $10 an hour, then it would have been at least like $600.
Right.
And I was like, and $10 an hour is not that much. Like,
Yeah. It's really not.
Yeah, that's what I do have a friend that makes clothes for a living, but
Mhm.
like her whole thing is she's an upscaler, so she like buys old garments from like the thrift store or like gets old fabric from eBay and then makes clothes from those things. So that's like how she can make a profit because she's using like
Right.
she's not going
Right.
out to the store and getting brand new fabric that
Yeah.
because it's just like impossible to make a profit that way unless you're making really high end like $300 dresses, which who's buying?
Right. Or like if you're like a custom wedding dress boutique or something
Yeah.
like
right,
that.
or if you're able to buy things wholesale, but if you're making like small batch custom like handmade things, you're not buying the quantity of materials that you would be able to get like significant discounts on.
Yeah. Well, that's like
Kimmy
oh sorry,
said-
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Just people keep telling me I should sell my blankets, and if I add up the cost for materials and time, it would be like $1,000. One I did, I said 500, but it should have been closer to $1,000 for the size. Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
people mean well when they're like, you should sell this, and it's like, but like you can't charge what it actually should be worth, or even like close to it, because then people are like, that's too expensive. Like, it's like, yeah, I know, it's like handmade. That's
Right.
why not everyone does it. But what were
Yeah,
you saying?
it's not just made in a factory. Like this is a real thing.
Right.
Have you seen that thing? There's this like, you know, like reel or something that I saw that was about that they're saying like it's not expensive, it's costly. Have you seen that?
Mm-mm.
Oh, it was this person talking about like the difference between like expensive would imply that like it's overpriced, right? That it is too expensive.
Oh,
But they're
yes.
saying like no, it is costly because it costs a lot for like quality materials, something that is
Right.
handmade, the amount of like time that it took to learn to make something of quality, like, you know, all of this thing, it costs that much, but it is costly.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting.
That's why when you go to like craft fairs for quilters, most of those people are selling like table runners or really small like pieces because if you make a queen size quilt, it's gonna be like $1,000.
Yeah.
And who's gonna buy $1,000 quilt unless they're like really rich or something, or or they've custom asked for it. Like they're like, oh, I want
right. It's like to spend that kind of money, you have to usually be like really prepared. It's not something that you would like. It's not an impulse buy kind of thing.
It's not the kind of thing most people would browse for at a craft fair and be like, yeah, I'll take $1,000 quilt home with me. That's fun.
Right. Right.
Always feels too expensive to me because I could never afford it, but they keep telling me that people will pay that. I saw one king size blanket on Etsy for $10,000. Yeah, it's hard because there are exceptions, and so like when people are like, no, but sometimes it happens, it's like, yeah, but the luck that you need and the like investment of like time and materials, like I don't know, I just don't. I get that it's sort of like one of the easiest ways to compliment people who are making things is like people would pay money for this.
I mean, I'm not against people making that comment to me. I just am like, I just don't think you really understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
And like, that's fine. Like, it doesn't bother me. I'm just like, okay, thanks.
Yeah. Yep.
Be like, would you like to spend $100 on this hat I made?
Yeah. Oh, I'll give it to you right now. It's $250. $250. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, like for me, I just enjoy having something to do. Like you were saying, like if your hobby was like something, I don't know. I'm trying to think about expensive hobby.
Skiing. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, skiing is a really expensive hobby because you got to buy your lift tickets. You have to like repair your ski, like all that stuff. You have to have all the proper clothing. So it's like, yeah, that person is paying the money, but then they're doing a sport where I'm paying the money so I can sit on my couch and do something while I listen to audiobooks. Like,
Yeah.
Yep.
Which also, I mean, I'm not to say anything bad about like skiing, but you don't get an end product out of that. But you know, different people have different things, but I do enjoy having like an end product from what I from my hobby. It's fun.
Yeah. This makes me think of like I read this like years ago, and I periodically will just like think about it. They actually did like a study where like it was for blood drives, and they were trying to incentivize people to give blood more often. And they actually found, when they tested it a few different ways, they actually found that people are much more likely to donate blood if they don't get anything in return versus getting like a gift card or like a cash rebate or something like that. They think the reason that they I guess like posited is like, because if you are thinking of it as like a donation, like something that you don't get anything in return, people will not view it as like input versus output, you know? Right. Whereas if you're like, wait, I have to go there for a couple hours and all I get is $5 or like whatever it is, then they're like, right, no, I won't do that. And so I was thinking that, because like with crafting, it's kind of the same. It's like, if you think about it as like, you know, I pay all this money for materials, this much of my time, and I get like one top or something. It's like, of course, that's not a good value. So if you're thinking about it in a context where like value doesn't come into it, because it's like, this is a thing I enjoy that I do for other reasons, then it's like, it feels worth it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no. So I have thought about something similar in terms of with books, actually, because whenever I unhaul books, I try to decide like, am I going to donate these, or am I going to try and like sell them somewhere and like get money back for them or something? I unfortunately do not live near a half price books where it's easy, like so there aren't a lot of options for selling back like used books around me. But the places, like there's one place that I went where it was like, you know, they give you like $5 for like a bag of 20 books or something like that, and I was like, I would rather donate my books for free. I would rather give them away for free than get like, you know, what, 25 cents a book or something. I am more offended by that.
Exactly.
I'm like, just 2 books. Yeah.
And also the place that I donate them is like connected to our library system, so they have like a bookstore that you can donate books to, and so then the money that they sell like goes back to the library and stuff, which is nice.
So that's exactly like what we were talking about, is like, it, if you make it not a monetary trade, then it is worth it. Like I don't know if you're still like looking for places to sell, but like I have found Pango to be really easy to use.
Then I have to like send things.
I know. Yes,
you do have to ship it, but
I have to go to the post office.
I just want to throw books at somebody.
I don't know. Like, I've thought about, because people always say that, go do Pango, but because they have lowered the amount of post offices we have in this area, it's like usually a 45-minute process to do.
That's
the counter.
That's different.
Because it's like we're a city and we have like 2 post office. And it's just like not enough for the amount of people that live here.
Kay says making blankets and gifting them is one of my love languages. Exactly. Yeah, like gifting is another thing where it's like, it is worth it in a way that is not a monetary value. Like I've had this conversation with my mom so many times. Like, she feels really bad whenever, like, I've given her a couple of pairs of like socks or like slippers, and anytime she has to like return them to me for repair, she feels like so bad. And I'm like, no, listen, like, this makes me so happy to know that you are using these enough and enjoying them enough that I have to repair them. Thank you for wearing out these socks. And she's like, but I just feel really bad. So yeah, really hard to price things. Natalie said that's what I do. My library has a used bookstore, which actually has good stuff, but that's where I give my books. Yeah.
And then I also buy books there, of course, anytime I'm there, because the books are like $1 for paperbacks, $3 for hardcovers. So like
it's the circle of life. It's like
this is unrelated, but recently I was talking to my friend's dad recently, and we talk about books sometimes, and I was somehow it came up. Oh, I was telling him about I don't know how it came up, but I was telling him about the Protector of the Small series by Tamara Pierce. And how much I liked her books as a kid, and like that series, rereading it now, one of the things I really like is how self-aware and self-reflective the main character is, because she really thinks about, like, as an 11-year-old, how the decisions I make now shape the adult that I will become, like the type of knight I will become in the future. And he was like, that sounds so interesting. I'm going to read that book. I was like, okay, like I only talk to him like once a year, so it's gonna take a year for me to find out what he thought of it. I hope he likes it. I was like, I don't know, like, I like this book. I don't know if you're going to like it, because it is like middle grade fantasy for like 12-year-old girls, but like, you know, not that he can't, but I just was like, based on your other taste, I'm not sure how this is gonna land for you, you know?
How is that for because you know how Alana starts out like appropriate for the middle grade audience, the first one, but then quickly moves into like more high school kind of appropriate in terms of like the relationships. Does the Protector of the Small series stay in like middle grade, or is it also advanced like Alana?
I think that it ages up with the character, but as a character, Kel doesn't really have a lot of like romantic relationships. So it's a lot less like quantity wise, and also much more just like in the background when anything does happen. I'm not really sure. I'm not great at like aging, like what is this appropriate for, you know? But it is, I would say it's definitely less than in the Alana series, because Kel is not really like, she isn't that focused on like romantic relationships. However, I will say that the bad guy that comes up in the 4th book, when I read it as a kid, scared the bejesus out of me. It was very creepy.
Okay, maybe I'll have to pre-read it, because I have a 10-year-old and she's looking at me right now. She's
I read that series when I was probably like 11 to 12.
Okay, so maybe I'll wait a little bit. Yeah. She's very grown up, because she like listens to like The Hobbit like all the time, you know, but like not, and she does not, I mean, I don't necessarily want her like reading about grown up romantic relationships, but she also has no interest in like even slight romance.
It's the part in The Princess Bride at the beginning, he's like, is this a kissing book? Like,
that is her. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, in that case, I mean, of the Tamara Pierce series, Kel is probably the one, like the Protector of the Small is the one with the least romance in it. Because Kel is very just like, I got other things to do.
She is focused.
she's got other stuff going on.
Well, maybe I'll see if she wants, or maybe we'll wait a year. But Yeah, because I even was like gonna give her the books of Bayern, and she's like, "Oh, they're like it's like a, princess prince kind of thing, and there's gonna be like a kiss." Ugh.
Well, especially like the later books, like in that series, like I feel are much older in some ways. Like End Up Burning, especially.
Yeah, I would not want her to read that one, but I think Goose Girl would be appropriate for her age.
Yeah.
Inner Burning does have that has like some very more, I would say, high school level, maybe at least like 14, 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't remember that, I think, until I had reread them recently, and I was like, oh, yeah, there's some definite things happening in the second book that are like gaslighting, manipulative, like things that I think a 12-year-old wouldn't understand. And yeah.
Well, and even like, and it's been a little while since I read them, so, grain of salt. But I remember, like, I really enjoyed the series overall, and I definitely would, like, in general recommend it. But one of the things that I didn't like is in some of the books, I feel like there was a really weird fixation for a series that started out middle grade. There was a weird fixation on, like, the women having children, like the girls having children. And I get that it's like, even though it's a fantasy world, it is like loosely inspired by like older time periods of our world. So like I understand all that, but I just remember being super pissed off at the love interest in the second book because he was basically like bummed that Anna was like, no, I'm too young to get married or have kids. Like, leave me alone. And he was like, how dare you? He didn't like push her about it, but the way the narration was done was just like very odd to me, especially because it's like implied that actually Anna doesn't mean it, so he shouldn't have believed her. Like, I don't know, I didn't like that, which is not really like an age range conversation, it's more just like a...
Which series is this? I missed that part.
Oh, the Books of Bayern by Shannon Hale.
Yeah,
I don't think I know that.
It's genuinely a really good series. Like, that's just one of the things I remember standing out to me as like I personally really didn't like. But it's not like that's not even like a big part of the series, and it's not even in every book. I just remember when it happened, I was like, ew, gross. And like it honestly, like it really turned me off the male character, even though like he's not bad, like he's fine. But anytime he was on page after that, I was like, get out of here. Like, I don't like, get out of here. I think Finn was his name.
Yeah.
Go home, Finn.
You might like it, huh? Because it's got the fairy tale kind of Tamora Pierce kind of vibe, but definitely more younger, I feel like. Okay. Like, doesn't get into as many like issues, I think, as Tamora Pierce does.
Mm-hmm. I think the third one was actually my favorite. The River Secrets one. I think that's a good one. Yeah.
I've been thinking of doing a video that's like formative books in my, reading. Yeah. I've seen other people do things like that, and I always meant to, but anyway, Tamara Pierce's books were certainly formative for me, so made me think of that.
Yeah. Speaking of books around that time period, I just finished Fire yesterday. Kara and I watched the live show from 4 years ago?
Yeah. What did you think?
I really liked it. My problem with her books, and I think you guys even touched on this in the live show, is that the pacing is so uneven that I end up putting them down for long stretches of time. But then I pick them back up, and it always hits a point where I just like zoom through the rest. This happened to me at Graceling, where I read like half the book, set it down for like months, and then picked it up and zoomed through. And that happened to Fire. I've been reading this book for months, but then I got to like a certain point where I've read the rest of it in 3 days.
Yeah.
But I did like it. So I can't give her books 5 stars because the pacing just like is so off for me, but I like her characters and I like her themes.
Mm-hmm.
And they've held up to me in terms of like a book written in the early 2000s. Like,
yeah, like that, and that's one of the things that frustrates me when people make like these sweeping generalizations about like, well, I think I complained about this maybe at our last live show, but it's like one of the comments, like people will be like, it read very 2010 fantasy, and I'm like, what does that mean? Like,
there's a vibe. I know what that means.
See, but like
of course there are exceptions, but there's a vibe for sure.
Okay, well, I guess I just disagree. Like, I don't feel like it's like a unifying enough vibe to be a helpful descriptor to me. Like, I guess if somebody would say it read very like generic vampire 2010 fantasy, like that, to me I was like, okay, I understand what you're saying. I read a few books like that, like I know what that is. And is Song of the Lioness, is that the first one that she published? Like, is that the first series?
That's the first series that she published in the world of Tortal. So it goes like Song of the Lioness, what is the Dane book series called? Is it called Wild Magic?
Immortals.
Immortals. Then Protector of the Small. Technically, she later wrote a prequel about Becca Cooper, but it takes place like, I don't know, is it like 100 years before the other one? So it doesn't really have an impact on the other series. I have a whole video about the Tortal books on my channel that I posted, I think, last year. If you want to know more about it, because I did a whole reread last summer of like all of her Tortal books. So
I need to keep going with her books, because like I loved The Circle of Magic and the sequel series, and I have read some of her, like a few of her Tortal books that I have also enjoyed.
I don't know how to pronounce that. I always say Tortal, but I think that sounds silly.
But Tortal also sounds weird. Like, it sounds like you're trying to say turtle, or it sounds like you're trying to say tortellini, like the pasta.
Yeah.
So I don't like anything.
I don't know.
I think I call it Tortal. Or maybe we just shouldn't say the name. If you say any word
that shall not be named.
Yeah, right. The series that shall not be named. I think people would think of a different series.
Yes, but I want to continue as well. I'm just like a slacker. I've gotten through all the Song of Lioness books, and I made it to the last book in the Immortals Quartet, and I haven't finished that last book. And then I did, because I was like, well, I can't move on to the like, the one about, what is it, Trickster's Choice, that one, because that like, I'm like, I need to finish this before I move on to that. So I did end up reading Becca Cooper, because I was like, okay, it doesn't involve the same characters, so I can like just do that and then come back to the Immortals. But then I didn't finish that one either. I only read book 1 and 2.
Yeah, I think the Immortals is the most meandering of the series, so it's a little like, it's harder to get like momentum. But Protector of the Small series is my favorite.
I'll have to do that. That's my problem with the Immortals. It's like, I really loved Wild Magic, and then all the other ones I've liked, but they have the same pacing problem I had with Graceling. Like, I would just put them down for like big stretches of time, because I'm like, okay.
Yeah. With the Immortals, there's less of like a clear plot that's like driving it. It's just sort of like some stuff kind of happens and then she reacts to it. She's much more reactive as a main character, I think. Like, I like Dane, but she's not like, she doesn't necessarily have a goal. She's just sort of bopping around and then goes like, whoa, something's happening. You know,
I gotta do something about it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So stuff really happens to her. And then she, you know, gets involved and does stuff, but there isn't like she's not really like driving the plot, and there isn't like a clear plot driving itself either. It's more just kind of like, it's just kind of meandering in comparison.
Nana, my time has come. We have a middle grade
Gnomes.
specific middle grade book recommendation. Do you guys know any middle grades with gnomes in it? So I'm gonna do a little looking, but off the top of my head, the Artemis Fowl series by Owen Colfer does. They're not like the main character isn't a gnome, so I don't know if it necessarily would be what you're looking for. But speaking of formative series, that's a big one for me. I've reread it so many times, including as an adult, and I obviously recommend it. I'm also looking real quick at my Goodreads. I feel like there's a couple of like sort of classic children's fantasy books that I'm thinking of. Oh, the one by George MacDonald. What is it? It's not the. Is it the? Oh, Princess and the Goblin. So obviously, like goblins are different, but I feel like it's a little bit of a similar vibe to gnomes, at least like the general sort of portrayal. Yeah, there's gnomes in there. Like again, they're not like the main characters. It's just like one of the fantasy races that like exist in the series and are occasionally present. But yeah, they are in there. So actually, I'm gonna put this in a comment so I don't forget for posterity.
I don't think I know of any books with gnomes specifically. Like probably books with dwarves, but not necessarily gnomes.
Right.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like anything.
Because all I can think of is the Smurfs. Like, gnomes. So I just like can't think of actual gnome characters.
Yeah, they're definitely not a creature that is super common in fantasy, but
Yeah.
what were you gonna say, Huck?
No, I'm just like mumbling to myself, trying to like remember if there's a series that I know with gnomes in it. I don't read a ton of middle grade, so I don't know if I would have recommendations for that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's see. Oh, wait. Mm-hmm. Okay, I have one. I cannot like for sure confirm that there are gnomes or goblins, but I seem to remember there being a species that is sort of in that category, and those are the Divide trilogy by Elizabeth Kay. And that was another, I guess, kind of formative series in a way, because it had a lot of elements that ended up becoming like things I love. Let's see.
Oh no, lost my needle.
Oh no.
Uh-oh. My carpet is like the color that it would blend in, but I found it.
Oh, good. Yeah, that is always so stressful. And
Yeah.
I do not want to step on that later.
Yep.
A needle.
Well, and having pets as well, that's always a thing I stress about.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I am.
While you're looking for that, Huck, did you finish the Little Thieves trilogy or just the first two?
I did the first two and the like kind of novella that she posted on AO3, but I have not finished the last book yet because it was stressing me out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I heard you say that. So is that all there is? Just 3?
Yeah, like 3 and the sort of unofficial novella.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
I am planning, because I know we talked about we were going to chat about it in the fall or whatever. Because wait, Kara, were you saying you were going to read the second book in the fall?
I maybe, I don't know, because like I also like I loved the first book, but I also like there's a very particular kind of stress that series has given me that I don't know if I'm gonna be reading it, but
Okay,
tentatively maybe.
because I'm thinking about reading it this month, so I was just
Yeah, I probably won't get to it this month.
like the first one. I have to still read.
Oh, okay, first one, never mind.
And then I'm definitely gonna read the first one because it's on my like books I need to read this year.
Yeah.
But then I'll know that you're not rushing into the second. But what was the other one we talked about reading? Was like The Tainted Cup, right?
Yes, I've read the first one, but if you wanted to buddy read the second book, A Drop of Corruption.
And that you'd be doing that in the fall.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure when, but
okay.
Yeah.
I might pick that up soon too. I'm trying to like think through some of the things I want to get to because like fall feels like I switch over kind of because I definitely want to read some pitch books.
Oh no.
Have to kind of think through what all I'm gonna want to get to.
Yeah.
Did you mess something up?
Yes.
Oh,
no. All right. Now I have to decide. I did too many rows in this stripe. For some reason I thought I did 8 rounds per stripe. I'm supposed to do 6. So now I guess I'm gonna just go and unpick it one by one because I don't really want to like. You know how you can like pick up stitches and then like rip it back? I don't. Yeah. Doing it one by one is annoying, but I feel like it's going to be equally annoying to do it the other way. And it's only 2 rounds, so that's what I'm doing now.
My sympathies.
For being incapable of like counting what I did previously so I could remember.
Listen, I've done that so many times, and it's always something where I'm like, it would have taken me 4 seconds to like check the pattern and look at the number, but I was like, I definitely know what that number is. I did not.
Well, see, I think that my problem is that at this point, I'm not following the pattern anymore. I'm just doing whatever I want with the stripes. And I think in the pattern is actually stripes all over. I just didn't do stripes, but their stripes are all 8 rounds per stripe. But I've been doing 6 rounds per stripe for the wide stripes. And so I think that 8 was in my head because the pattern does 8, but I've been doing 6. Pattern is messing me up.
I'm gonna mute you for a second while I watch a how-to video.
Okay. Somehow this takes more concentration. Merlin fell asleep. So now he's just chilling out.
I'm back. Not that you guys were chatting, but
we all took like a concentration break, I think.
well, if you still need to focus, go ahead.
I was gonna ask you guys if we want to do our usual like reading sprint slash, cameras off sprint. If we want to maybe do that in a few minutes.
What works for me? Whatever.
Okay. I will probably be using the time to get something to eat because it is lunchtime here. So. And it's a good stopping point for me because I just finished the blanket.
Ooh, you did? That's exciting. Your cat will be so happy.
Maybe. She also might completely ignore it. Like, you can never tell.
For cats, it's the same. It's just like, am I obsessed with it or do I ignore it?
Yeah. And they can change between those at the drop of a hat. So she might be like, I never want to see this again. And then next week she's like, if you take this from me, I will destroy you. Like, always a fun adventure. Also, incredibly, I was prepared and I actually have my tapestry needle with me so I can actually finish the ends here instead of leaving it somewhere and being like, I'll do that right away, and then it being like 3 months later, for example.
All right. I completed unpicking 1 round. 1 more to go.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of times where if it's like a big thing that I have to undo and fix, I will undo it and then I'll like take a break. Like I'm like, I cannot face the frustration of having to redo something that I literally just spent hours today doing. So I'm gonna wait until it's less immediately painful.
Yeah, sometimes if it's like something that is much larger, this is not a thing that's like. Also, I mean, it really depends, I guess, on like what exactly I'm making and like what exactly my mistake was. But a lot of times I don't get that upset about mistakes. But I will sometimes still take breaks afterwards just because like undoing it can be a lot of work and I'm just like, I'm tired.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I am very bothered by mistakes. I don't always
That does not surprise me about you.
Yeah, I know. Not exactly a shock for who I am as a person. I don't always. It's not like every mistake I am like, that's it. I have to redo this entire part. Like sometimes I'm like, it's just gonna look like that. This is for me, and I don't care enough. Like, or it's not even that I don't care enough. It's like the frustration of having to undo and redo is outweighed by the fact that I want to continue to have fun with this project, like I'm not I am sacrificing some perfection for the fact that I can still enjoy myself.
Yeah. Well, there are some, like when I was working on that other green sweater, I undid and redid so many parts because I was like, this is going to bother me and it's like not going to be fun if it's not doing what I want. But then like when I did that color work sweater that was the black and gold, there are things, especially I think I did a video, like my crafting wrap up, of saying somehow all of my mistakes were on the back, which is nice. But there are also some things where I'm like, this is 100% not a diamond shape. Do not care. Like, moving on.
Yep. Natalie just cleaned the bathroom, had the will to do it, so I did it. Like, that is, yeah. I have learned that even if it's not what I plan to focus on that day, or if it's like a weird time, if I have the motivation to do a thing that I've been putting off, I need to do it. Which is such an obvious thing, but apparently it took me years of experience to be like, all right, listen to the weird like impulse that you have right now.
You know what's funny is, just speaking of cleaning, have you seen that trend online where people like will dress up like a tavern wench and then they clean their kitchen or something like that?
Mm-mm.
Oh, it's a whole trend. And I've
That's
watched
funny.
this, like, people being like, this is an incredible cleaning hack, is like you pretend, or people will be like, I'm going to pretend I'm like a 50s housewife and I'm like vacuuming my living room or something like that. They like dress up for it. And I was like, this is literally a thing that I did for real as a child when I had chores to do. Like, I didn't dress up for it, but I very clearly remember still, I had a storyline in my head that was that I would like replay every time I had to like do one of my chores, and one of my chores was washing the floor. And I also, instead of washing the floor with like a mop, I would wash the floor like hands and knees with like a rag, because I was like,
Cinderella
this is more
style.
satisfying to my brain
Yeah.
than using a mop.
Yeah.
And I was like, takes twice as long, way more difficult, but I will actually do it because it's more satisfying and it goes with my story.
Exactly. Exactly.
Anyway, it just is funny to me that there are all these people who are like, this is a great hack. I mean, I'm glad they found it, but I was like, I truly did this as a child.
Yeah.
I had like this whole storyline, and then I would like, I had a whole series of things that also then went along with the story after I finished cleaning. It was a whole thing.
No costume, just a storyline.
Yeah.
So how about we take our little sprint break? How do you guys feel about, it'd be about 45 minutes, just going to the top of the hour?
That's fine with me.
Does that go with you, Hook?
Yeah.
All right. So we are going to do our obligatory kind of a reading sprint, but obviously just do whatever. Like I said, I'm going to probably grab something to eat, and then we will come back for more crafting and chatting shenanigans. So I will see you guys then.
All right. See you soon.
Yeah.
Hello again.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back, everyone.
How's it going?
Pretty good, pretty good. So I did finish the kitty blankie, and Nala is non-committal so far. She's like, I don't know how I feel.
Seems
about
right.
Yeah, yeah. I knew I had made my peace with it that could happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also new. Maybe she just needs a moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Needs to warm up to it.
How did you guys do, or what did you do over the break?
I fed Merlin and I ordered yarn for my next project.
Awesome.
So that's exciting. Yes.
I was cleaning. It was not exciting.
Natalie was also cleaning. Thank God it's now and not 6 hours later when I've procrastinated and am miserable. Yeah, I feel you.
I also need to clean, but I'm not being that productive. That's a different level of productivity.
Yeah, different kind too.
Yeah.
Have you guys been reading anything interesting or exciting?
I'm actually reading an arc right now, which I don't normally.
Yeah.
But this was one that I was like, okay, I'll take, I'm reading Daughter of the Other World by Shauna Lawless, which is the next. So, like, I read the Gale Song trilogy last year and really liked it. And this is sort of era 2, takes place like 100 years later. And yeah, the first book in era 2 is coming out. I dropped my yarn. Is coming out actually in the UK in September, in the US in November. And the author sent me a physical copy of the arc, so that was very exciting.
That is,
and it was one that I was like, I will actually, like, I don't normally accept arcs because I don't like the perceived like pressure that comes with it.
Yeah.
Where it's like, especially time pressure, because I am such a mood reader and I'm always like, I don't know when I'm going to read this, but also like it does always, if it's a book that you don't know how you're going to feel about it, and then you're like, well, obviously I'm going to be honest about my feelings, but it still feels weird if you don't like it,
right.
But this is one that I was like, I do want to read this immediately, so I'm not like worried about time, and also I feel pretty confident I'm going to like it, considering that I liked the rest of the series. So so I'm reading that right now, and I'm about halfway through and I'm liking it, so that's exciting. Yeah, and I'm also listening to Keikai, finally getting around to that. And also liking that. I've heard some very mixed things about it, and I understand some of the criticisms, but I also am like, I'm enjoying it. I don't think it's necessarily going to be like a all-time favorite as far as I can tell so far. I mean, I'm only like 30% of the way into the book or something. But I'm liking it. And there are some tropes or not tropes, but they're like certain things that it's doing that I've seen other books do, and I think it's doing them better than some other ones. So I'm like, okay, good for you. So yeah, that's oh, and also I am also reading. I have a whole list of things. I mean, you ask what people are reading. I am also listening to Sword Point by Ellen Kushner, which I am reading because somebody I follow on Instagram is doing like a read along, like buddy read kind of thing. And I had read it. Sword Point is part of like a companion series that's a fantasy of manners that was written in like the 80s or something.
Ooh, I do like a good fantasy of manners.
Yeah, and I read one of the other books in the series a long time ago, like in high school, and I don't really remember what I thought of it. And so when they were saying they were gonna like, they wanted to know if, anyone wanted to buddy read it, I was like, yeah, like I've kind of always thought maybe I should like go back and remind myself what that series was about. But I never read this one. I only read, I think, Privilege of the Sword is the one that I read, which is like later in the series, but I think they're all standalone, so it doesn't really matter when you read them. Anyways, also reading that. But I think because it's kind of a fantasy of manners, it feels like not a lot's happening,
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's taken a while to get to a point where it's like, okay, this guy, you understand where like this person's trying to do like political machinations, and also two people are trying to hire another guy to duel someone to the death. It's like, okay. Because the main character, you're following multiple characters, but one of the main character is this guy who's essentially like a sword for hire. He duels people to the death and wins every time. And so you're like following him, but then also following the like nobility who are trying to hire him to kill people for them.
Okay.
Anyway, so that one I'm kind of like, it's fine. I'm not super hyped about it, but I am also reading that. Anyway, that's my rundown of all the things I'm reading right
now. Actually, perfect segue. What you were saying about Kakei being like doing some things that you see a lot of authors do, but like you think it's doing them better. I actually just finished A Study in Scarlet Women by Sherry Thomas, which is of course a Sherlock Holmes retelling. It's gender bent. And it's kind of funny. So Sherry Thomas wrote The Magnolia Sword, which is a Mulan retelling that I love and I still highly recommend. And that is a great example of a book that is about like a couple of things that I never like, and yet I still loved it. Like there was a lot of like military stuff in it, which I find boring, but I loved the book. And it also has because it's a Mulan retelling, it's like the girl dresses up as boy trope, which I'm also usually not a fan of. But I still loved it. So it's funny because I actually read it as part of the online book club that I'm in. And of the 3 options we had, it was the one I was least interested in. Even though it technically was on my want to read list and I did want to try it at some point, I wasn't super excited about it. I was a little worried it would be like I read a lot of historical fiction. And I read a lot of historical fiction following women. And there's this very particular flavor of Not Like Other Girls that happens in historical fiction of like a certain type. I don't know. I was a little wary of that. But I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. But also I finished the first book and it's a fairly long series at this point. And even though I liked it and there are parts of it I think are really well done, I don't really have any desire to read the next books, which is weird for me because usually if I enjoy a book enough and it's in a series, I'm like, well, yeah, I'm going to continue. It's rare that I like it but don't care about reading more. Yeah, I don't know. So it's a mystery, of course, and I actually liked some of the ways that the author used the fact that her name is Charlotte Holmes, used the fact that she's a woman in this time period as sort of a natural way to make commentary rather than I don't know. I've read some books that I feel lose the subtlety that you need for that. And the mystery itself was interesting. There's some parts near the end where it's it's one of those mysteries where it's oh, okay, so every plot detail that we've heard about in this whole book apparently connects to each other. which is not usually something that I notice or that bothers me, but here it did. It was just like, it was like this random, these like random things that would happen where I'm like, this isn't even like a side plot. This was like a throwaway sentence or like something that you didn't even realize was a case or part of a case. But I also remembered that the original story that it is sort of loosely based on by Conan Doyle, I'm like, oh, but it did that too. Like, that's like A Study in Scarlet is like kind of bananas in the way that it like connects these seemingly completely unrelated crimes. So anyway, as you can probably tell by my rambling, I'm still figuring out exactly how I feel about it.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. Like, I haven't even rated it yet because I'm still like figuring it out. But
Hold on.
yeah, I don't know. It does make me though even more sure that I want to read more by Sherry Thomas. Because I loved the other book I read, and if one that I was so, I don't want to say predisposed not to like, but it had things working against it that I usually don't enjoy. Like, that bodes well for other things she's written. So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think that sort of relates to how I was thinking about KKE, that like some of the things that it was doing, particularly like you were talking about some things that are like the not like other girls kind of things. Like, I think that book could easily fall into that, but I think that it's not like I think that it's doing a good job of showing that like the ways in which she is like different from the other women around her, or the way that she is pushing back against or chafing at like gender expectations, are not from a place of being like dismissive of or like looking down on other women. It's much more just an internal thing of her own desire for freedom and agency, and sometimes her like social misreading or misunderstanding of the women around her. So it's not like, oh, they're like bad. It's like you didn't get the social cues there.
Right.
And so I appreciate that about it. And
well, and in A Study in Scarlet Women as well, like, there's like several things that I think actively work against the like not like other girls narrative that I feel like so often happens, especially with like very scholarly female characters in that time period. Like, Charlotte has like several women in the story that she's very close to. Like, one of her sisters she's really close to. There's like an older woman that she makes friends with who I love. She's such a fun character. And like she relies on other women as well. And there's even like little details that I think go a long way to convince me that like, okay, Charlotte is not, it's not that like she's better than other women because her brain works a certain way. It's like she has strengths and she recognizes that other women have different strengths, and neither of them are like judging the other or like thinking that that's the only way that you can be an intelligent woman or anything like that. And even like little things like the fact that Charlotte like loves clothes. Like, she starts out like when she's very young, she's like that typical like tomboy, like how it seems like a lot of female leads in this kind of book are. And she like doesn't care about dresses and blah 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 because she's like too smart for that. And then later when she's a young woman, she is like encouraged to basically like try out some of the feminine things that she like had already decided that she didn't like, and like give them more of a shot. And it turns out that she loves fashion, and in fact her taste is just like, it's very overwrought and it's just barely not tacky. And I love that. I find that so endearing and so like unusual for a kind of like Sherlock character. And that's such a little detail, but like even stuff like that, just like I think it can be in those little details that sort of like communicate that, okay, we are following this one female character who is very, in some ways, very like stereotypically, I don't want to say stereotypically smart, but like, a Sherlock type. but there are all these other details that make it very clear that that is not, like, the book is not taking the position that this is how you have to be a feminist, or like this is how you have to be like a competent woman, is you can only be good at these things and you can only be like this type of person. So yeah, I was impressed with that. And it's funny that it's funny in a way that it was such a like refreshing twist, but it really was, because it's like, you know, of all the like gender bent retellings that I've read, some of which I have really loved, to be clear, but I can't really think of one off the top of my head where it's like the main female character was like super into clothing and fashion, and that was like a thing about her. So anyway.
I was trying to remember, like, you were talking about this, and I'm like, I feel like I've read this book, and I did read it like 4 years ago.
Okay.
I actually think I read the second one too, but then stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read
like, I enjoyed it, but like I was saying, I just don't feel any desire to continue, especially because the relationship dynamic that it's setting up, like, I think it's interesting, but I'm sort of like predisposed to find it irritating, because the only thing we really know about the dynamic is that Charlotte and this guy, who like they realized later, well, they were sort of childhood friends, didn't realize until it was basically too late that they actually romantically liked each other. And then when he was going to marry this other woman, Charlotte told him, don't do that. And he did it anyway. And now he's like miserable. And I'm kind of like, well, she freaking told you. Like, I don't know. Obviously, we're getting like one-sided information because Charlotte is the main character, but it just, like, I don't have any interest in following this kind of pining when I'm like, this could have very easily been avoided. Yeah. And like, I'm someone who like, I give more leeway to books that are like set in certain time periods or that have certain like social codes around them, like, because I don't like reading cheating, but I give it more leeway, like I said, if the book can convince me that it wasn't really an option for them to, you know, like just divorce or anything. So,
and from what I remember, I mean, this was 4 years ago I read it, but I feel like I remember their dynamic and being like, the authors like purposely creating tension between these two, but also putting them in an impossible situation. And so even if it's not like actual cheating, it's like the author's making you feel invested in their relationship, but not able to give you any satisfaction
exactly
in it with the way that she's created this. And so then it's like, well, now you're just like leading me along to like them as a couple, but like that would mean that the wife, something would have to happen to the wife or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. And like the little we know about her, she's an awful person, but I just find it so irritating that, yeah, it feels like forced angst to me, because before we found out more about sort of how the marriage happened, like before we knew really anything about that, I was sort of imagining it as like sort of that classic like society marriage where there were like practical reasons, like maybe he needed to marry well because like his family really needed the money, or like I could think of reasons why this would happen, and they both would, like, him and Charlotte would both like understand why it had to happen this way, even if they obviously weren't happy. But then we find out that like, oh no, like she told him in so many words, you shouldn't marry her, and he did anyway. And I'm like, so you really brought all of this on yourself. Like, I don't have really much sympathy for him. Especially with the way that he's like sort of, he's a little high-handed about like looking out for Charlotte, and like, I mean, she does need help from other people. And I feel like that was actually handled well, that she still felt like an independent character, but like there are also times where she's like, I don't have the resources to do this, and that means I have to accept help from someone. So I like that, but with how annoyed I already was at the love interest, to have him on top of that be like mad that she's putting herself in danger, like, bro, like, you gave up all right to like nag her about stuff like this. Like, it just,
Yeah.
bugs me, in case you can't tell.
Yeah. And I read both back to back. I read them in a row and then never continued. So I must not have felt a need to continue.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting though, because a couple other people in the book club who I've heard from have like really loved the novel, have like really enjoyed it. So it's interesting that it was the one I was least excited about, but it seems like it's gonna be a pretty popular choice. So Natalie said reading a translated classic, 3 Summers by Margarita Liberace, translated from Greek by Karen Van Dyck. Kind of a dreamy coming of age novel. Wanted to read it before summer ends. Cool. Yeah, I haven't really been doing a lot of seasonal reading.
What's that, Kelly? What you've been reading, Kara? I didn't want to like.
So that's the one that I finished most recently. I'm very close to being done with a reread of Queen of the Tiles by Hannah Alcaf, because that is going to be the next book for Not a Genre Book Club. That one is also a mystery, but very different. And I mean, it's a reread, so I knew that I really loved it, but yeah, can still feel the same. I still really enjoy it. There's still some things about the ending that I think could have been pulled together better, so it's not like a perfect book for me. But I do really like it. And I especially am very intrigued by the way that it's kind of a murder mystery, but it's more about grief, and especially about the kind of grief where you find out things about the person you lost that you didn't know, and how that just really complicates the entire process. Yeah, I don't know. It's really interesting. It's a good mix of thoughtful character and emotion stuff, and then also turning the pages and I want to know what happened next kind of thing. Obviously this is a reread, so I know the ending, but even from the first time I read it. Yeah, so would definitely recommend that one, and with much more unmixed feelings than A Study in Scarlet Women.
Yeah, I am in this finally finishing things I've started zone this month, and it's been really good.
Awesome.
Because I've just been I'm such a mood reader, and I have just been so scattered lately that I just have start books, put them down, start books, put them down. And I've just been I think I finished 5 books this week, because that was ones I'd already been in.
Yeah.
And finally finished them. So Fire was one of those that I've been reading for technically months and finished. And Wild Dark Shore, I just finished 2 days ago or yesterday. 2 days ago, I think. Yeah, 2 days ago. And I had stopped that one because it's just really hard to read a book about wildfires and flooding when there is wildfires happening. And it doesn't feel as future, where this is supposed to be taking place in the future. But that one was really emotional and really good. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting that there have been a lot of ones that I was finishing up, and you would think that I put them down because they weren't good, but of all of them, I've only had one that I was yeah, this is a 3-star. I probably didn't need to finish, but the rest of them were all 4 or 5 stars. So
yeah,
it's just my brain.
Sometimes it really is just a timing thing. Yeah, because there are books that I have put down and come back to much later, and they've been favorites of the year, so I think that's a good sign that we should continue listening to our instincts about about like the books that we're reading. I mean, not necessarily like I get stressed if I have like too many books that I've stopped and started. You know, self-imposed stress. But when something like what you're describing, Kelly, when something like that happens where I come back to it later and I actually really enjoy it, I'm like, see,
Yeah.
sometimes that's a good choice.
Yeah, sometimes you just need to be in the mood. Oh, another one I finished was Antony and Cleopatra.
Yeah.
And
How
I
did you
had,
like it?
and okay, so this was one of those where I had tried to read this like probably 3 years ago, and I think I got through 2 acts, and I was just reading it, and I was just like, I'm not really like following. I'm bored. I just don't get it. And so this time I was like, I need to give myself more help. And so I ended up reading like my copy while listening to a full cast. So it was like
Yeah.
kind of like acting it out, you know?
Yeah.
So closer to actually watching the play by hearing the inflections. And I feel like that helped so much. Just hearing people's emotions helped me understand the words and what was supposed to be happening in a scene. Because sometimes you can tell, like, oh, this is supposed to be a dramatic scene, or this they're angry. And so it helped me a lot, because sometimes I haven't had any problem reading a Shakespeare play and getting it. But this one I was just not. I think because it's a lot of political stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot more like military and yeah. It's funny though, because my Shakespeare acting professor in college, like one of the things I remember him telling us near the beginning of the class is that like performers who maybe aren't like used to doing Shakespeare, like their instinct is to kind of slow it down, to speak more slowly so that people can understand it. And he said, but that actually like that doesn't help. Like the way that people will actually understand like the emotions and sort of the important things that are going on is if you keep it paced like a normal conversation. And if you're like doing your job as actors, like people get a lot more than they maybe think they do. Like, you know, I'm sure there's probably a lot of people who are like, oh, I can never understand Shakespeare. I get too confused or I don't know what's going on. And it's like, if you look at a specific scene, yeah, you might not know. If you like pick out a couple lines, somebody might not know what it means specifically or what it means word for word. But if they're like watching a scene and the performers are doing a good job, it's like, oh, so they're having like a family fight about this other person who isn't here, you know, like that kind of thing. So I think that makes a lot of sense, Kelly, and I'm glad that you were able to like do it that way. Like I think that's cool. But you did end up liking it then?
Yes, because, and I think it was so helpful because I still didn't love a lot of the political scenes, like when it's like the triumvirate having conversations, you know, like the 3 guys.
Yeah.
I'm like, yada yada. I know you're all gonna fall. Rome's gonna fall. Whatever. Who cares about you?
Right.
But anytime Cleopatra was in a scene, I was like, she is the drama queen, and I love it. I am here for her drama.
Yes. Yeah, I love her. And there are lines from her or even like other characters about her that just like live in my memory from that play. Like Antony, I'm pretty sure it's Antony who's like, age cannot wither her nor custom stale her infinite variety. Like just the idea, like I don't know, it's such a like a romantic notion that it's like this person cares about you so much that nothing you do could ever bore them. Like it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah. So like that, I was like, so every time I was getting back with the men, I was like, oh, maybe it's a 3-star. But then as soon as we get back with Cleopatra, I was like, okay, 4 stars. Like we're back up, loving it. And then I think the last couple acts were a lot more. I was much more invested because you know that's when all the like tragedy happened.
Right.
The tragedy. All the people start dying, and then it like gets much more emotional. And so I'm glad I finished it. And I also, I know you've read this because I was looking up reviews and I saw you had reviewed it. I also at the same time, because I was reading like Egypt centered books, and I read Mara, Daughter of the Nile.
Yeah.
And that was another one where I was like, this is a soap opera. And although it is not historically accurate, I am like deep in the like
it's a vibe. Yeah.
I'm like, bring on the drama.
Yes.
So, which is great because Egypt kind of was like that, like ancient Egypt, like the drama of, you know,
Like
the
the
life or
family
death.
politics. And yeah, I actually, it's funny that you say that, because like I had a conversation with, maybe it was my sister or my mom one time, like about Cleopatra, because I find her fascinating. I love reading about her. Yeah, fiction or nonfiction. And one of the things that I think is so interesting about her, and that I think is maybe one of the reasons why like she still has such a hold on like our culture, is that she is one of those people where like her real life reads like a drama, like it reads like a play or this great tragedy. Like yes, they do exaggerate things for some of the different like adaptations and stuff, but like the actual details of her life, like what we know of them, it's like, oh, so like it literally is like the like Antony, when he like falls on his sword and he like just barely, like he's just too late, you know, and all of that, that actually happened. Like her being
Mm-hmm.
like the way that Octavian like wanted to bring her back as like a trophy of war, and the things that she did like about that, that actually happened. Like it's just, it's
Well, that's
wild.
why I love it. Like it feels like I heard somebody or I saw somebody in a Goodreads comment saying this is too much like Romeo and Juliet. I'm like, but this actually did happen. Like
Yeah.
this is how they died. Like
Yeah, like this, like literally this is just what happened at the end of their lives. Like
yeah, obviously he put drama and had made up dialogue that we don't know about, but like this is like actual history.
yeah, I mean, I think like even the part, isn't it even the part where she has to like she barricades herself in like a tomb, and they like have to lift Antony because he's already dying, and so they like have one last meeting like before they both end up dead. Like I think even that part was like, no, that's how it happened. Like she did barricade herself in that tomb.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah. And like the asp thing, like the, of course in paintings it's always like depicted as like, you know, biting her like on her chest so they can like make it sexy and stuff. But even though that part was fictionalized, like that is the way that she died. Like it just, yeah.
As the whole time I was reading it, so my daughter has this new like phrase that she uses all the time. I don't know if it's just her or if it's a thing that kids say now, but like I'll say something, she'll be like, "Yes, queen," and I was like saying that to Cleopatra like throughout this whole like play. I was like, "Yes, queen." Like, you go, Cleopatra. Like you tell them how you feeling. Feel all the feels. Let them out.
Yeah. That's really
Kill
funny.
the messenger. Do it.
Yeah. Go off, girl.
And that's how I was feeling like the whole time. It was like so high drama, and I was like loving the high drama. But so yeah, I've been enjoying these things that I had given up kind of on or set down earlier. And then I'm trying to think of what else I'm reading. I've been so much finishing things that now I'm like, okay, let me start something new. So I haven't picked up a new thing yet, but I think that I'm going to, I know I have Little Thieves on audio, which I might start soon. And then did you either of you do the audio? Like, I'm just wondering if that's a bad way to go.
I did audio for both of the books that I've read so far.
Okay, so it's okay.
Yeah, I liked it.
And then I think physically I'm going to read A Sorceress Comes to Call. Though I feel like they might both be slightly heartbreaking and depressing. So I don't know. Because from what you're saying, it sounds like Little Thieves is kind of has some of that.
More, like it's more like intense. Like it's, there are, at least for me, there are parts that are like I'm very stressed because I love the characters and I don't see how they're going to get out of something. And there is some trauma like that you hear about that the characters are still dealing with, but that happened much earlier. So it like content warnings for like discussion of like attempted sexual assault. So there are parts that are like heavy, but I wouldn't characterize the book overall as being sad or like that kind of emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think also, especially not like the first book, I think it's like getting into in like the fallow year, which is like the AO3 novella, and then Holy Terrors, the third book, is kind of where people are sad.
Yeah.
The first two books are not particularly sad.
I'm just like wondering. Also, they're both Goose Girl retellings, so maybe I'll wait. Maybe I'll read Little Thieves first, and not try to read them both at the same time, so that I don't get my retelling similarities mixed up.
Yeah.
So then I probably will pick up The Spare Man by Mary Robinette Kowal, because that was my other. Those are my three that I want to read this month.
Yeah. Natalie says, being a Californian, I can read Midsummer Night's Dream later because it's still hot. Yeah. Fellow Californian here, like our seasonal reading is all over the place. So I feel you on that.
Where I've already started pulling my witch books out because it's 60 degrees out. So I'm like, we're headed into fall. I'm feeling it. So
send some of that our way, please.
Oh my god, I can't wait for it to get cool. Recently, it's been like our highs have been like 85, and I'm like, wow, so nice outside.
That's like, I mean, obviously we live in a very different climate. For us, 85 is like, everybody, like, make sure you drink lots of water.
Yeah.
No, this is like cooler for me. I'm just like, this is so nice.
Yeah.
I think she heard me talking about her earlier.
Okay. Wow. Speaking of my online book club, I actually will have to cut this a little short because I need to get ready for our Zoom meeting. So I don't know if we want to like wrap it up. I know this one was a little shorter. So I'm sorry about that, you guys, but
it's all good. Yeah, do you want a progress update?
Yes, let's do it.
All right.
I already presented my kitty blankie, but in case people are watching now who didn't see earlier, I did show off the top that I finished to prove that it really exists. Yeah, but I really, really like it, actually. I might even make another one at some point because I did really enjoy the pattern. And I like the fit. So, yeah, feel good about that.
I did 2 stripes on my sleeve. So this white one and this brown one. And I also undid a few rows of the brown one because I did too many.
the most depressing kind of progress to make, but it is progress.
Yeah.
You were doing stuff.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I finished that binding my friend's quilt, and then now I did several of these little. Since I had my hand sewing out, I've been sewing little things. Those are going to become, I'm trying to make a quilt all by hand, like hand sewing everything. Wow. And so these are what they're going to look like.
Oh, that's so pretty.
Nice. And so just
very cool.
It's going to take forever because it's all by hand.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's the kind of thing that we enjoy doing.
Yeah.
Craft people.
I'm definitely not going to sell it because then nobody.
I was like, oh, Kelly, you could sell those like for thousands of dollars.
Maybe I should start calculating how much time it takes me to piece together one of these little pieces.
Yeah.
I was like, there's somebody that I've seen on Instagram who actually like very meticulously tracked her knitting time for making a sweater, so then she could calculate. Yeah, I think she called it like fun per hour, but you know, she could calculate like how much time she actually spent on the sweater and then how much it like cost per hour.
Yeah.
For just like the materials, you know, how much she spent on materials. And I thought that was really interesting. I was like, I don't know if I I don't know if I would like do that, but I would be very curious.
Yeah.
Although I know that a lot of times they say for like probably like a DK or maybe worsted weight sweater, you can assume that it's probably close to 40 hours, I think, of work.
Mm,
But depends how fast
yeah.
you knit and how many mistakes you make.
I was gonna say, how much do you have to backtrack? And I don't know. Some people are fast knitters. I take forever to knit.
Well, and it is like intended to be like a slow craft. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's different when like if you were like knitting like a couple hundred years ago, it probably would be like, I need these socks so that I don't get frostbite, so that's like,
Right. Well, and also it's like it was a thing that like I feel like people would spend more time doing.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like what you did in your evenings. Like,
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's so great. Natalie has 2 ancient Greek myth inspired poems coming out in a publication. Congratulations.
Nice.
That's wonderful.
you
That
have
is
to
so
tell
exciting.
us where they're published.
Yeah. Drop the name if you would like to. That's very cool. Okay, so I think we're gonna wrap it up here. As I said, Huck and Kelly are both linked already. Thank you for those of you who were hanging out with us. Thanks for those who watch it back later. And thanks for being patient with the fact that I always announce these last minute, even when we already have the details decided. Like sometimes it really is that like we're still scheduling things, but sometimes like I just literally forget. I had a week, so it was my fault. Wild Willow Magazine's upcoming pomegranate issue. Ooh, love the pomegranate reference. Okay, that's awesome. I'm gonna put that on my radar for sure. All right. Anything to add, Huck or Kelly?
No.
All right. Thank you. No.
Thanks for hosting.
Yeah, thanks for being here and crafting with me. Yeah, we will see you guys probably next month. We're being so consistent with these, and again, all credit to Huck and Kelly for keeping us on schedule. All right. Thank you guys. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.